Alright, welcome back. This is M-Dog, and I thought we would take a look at some of my preferred fishing here in the Japan map in Fishing Planet. Of course, we are back here at Kaiji no Ri, and as you can see, I am back to focusing on much smaller fish. We do have a lot of mahis coming in, but not just mahis, other things as well. And what I have found is, at least for me, it is a nice break from the big tuna and marlin. Not that those aren't fun, they can be, but they take a long time to reel in and can be sort of just exhausting at times. So what I have found is, terms of getting good XP and money, because of how effortlessly you can pull these in, even with my full setups, I'm really enjoying fishing for this type of fish. Especially, you know, the spool starts to get worn out a little bit. Feel like, well, it's not as efficient to go for the big fish now anyway. Or if you're just getting to this map and you want to do something without, you know, maybe it's too hard or not possible even to get some of the biggest fish in with some of the starter equipment, this would also be a good option for that. So, first of all, on this first setup, we are using, so these two parts of our setup do come from mission completion. So if you haven't done the missions, you know, it's probably a good idea to go through the missions. And when you first get to the map, you'll make a lot of money and you'll also learn about the map. So I'm using these. You can use other things if you want to. There's, you know, you pretty much can use anything. Any of the smaller trolling octopus lures are going to work really good in this. The other option is using bucktails, and I am using a bucktail on my other setup. And always forget. So anyway, here are the other bucktails. Now this is a pretty big one, 50 gram. There you can use the 14 gram, and there's probably smaller ones. Again, because I'm not high enough level to actually be here without the DLC, I don't even know what all of the lure sizes are. I suppose we could look in the shop really quick if we go to saltwater lures. Let's look at just bucktails. So when you first get here, it looks like, yeah, 14 gram and then 21 gram, which are that's very cool. Like, I would wish I had more of a selection of some of the starting stuff. Same with trolling octopi. You can purchase these 28 gram and then it moves on up. But if you look at, you know, what I have due to the DLC, 43 gram is the starting size I have on the trolling octopus, other than the mission one, which is 28 gram. I wish I had more options on 28 grams. Anyway, all that being said, these are the two setups I'm using. These are basically the two DLC casting setups. If you don't want to use two casting, you could always throw on a bottom rod on your other one and just, you know, put some kind of scaled sardines or something out there. That would be fine as well. Okay, so let's talk about where we're fishing at. Let's pull out the map here. Basically, what I'm doing is just trolling up and down the western side of the island. And, you know, if the wind is participating, then you'll see higher levels of mahi. If it's not, then you'll see a lot of the other fish and less mahi. Probably not no mahi, but maybe less. So some of that is dependent on where the wind is. So let me get up in the boat here and let's look and see where we are on the map. Yeah, so we're just going to be going straight north from here. You see there's already fish all around us. So let's go ahead and get our rods in. I actually like to be moving when I put these rods in, because especially the bucktail rod has really not enough weight on it to get a decent cast. You know, as long as you get it 20 plus meters behind the boat, in my opinion, that is plenty far. And then let's throw our other lure out here on the left side, and same thing, just over 20, and we already have a bite on the bucktail, which is nice. So one thing I'll do is I'll check the fish like this, and if it seems small enough to reel in while trolling, I will do that, because all that means is that other rod has a chance of catching a fish. By the time we get this mahi in, the other one might be in. So you know, you think about how much XP you're getting for the big tuna and how much money you're getting for the big tuna and stuff. Obviously, it's a lot more than that, but I got that in. I mean, it would have probably taken 20 times as much time, if not more so, to get in a, you know, a nice, decent tuna or whatever. And as you saw, we just got that in just immediately. So I'm kind of looking on the map here, making sure there's still fish on the sonar. As long as there is, then we're chilling. We're just waiting for the next fish to bite. If the fish is big enough that it's going to be a little bit difficult, let's go ahead and go to a little bit more peak time here. If the fish is big enough that it's going to be a little bit difficult to reel in, then I'll go ahead and stop the boat. Yeah, stop the boat like you normally would. Okay, so we went forward in time, which is good in terms of like peak fishing, but it has changed the location of where the fish are. So we'll want to move forward here. We would still catch fish in my experience, but it is a lot slower. So we just went from morning bite to now afternoon, which means the fish are going to be in a little bit different location. So I think once we get up to this spot a little farther north from here, we should be fine. Okay, so here we are. So basically I just went a little further north on the map, and now we're back in the fish again. So you just kind of have to watch time of day. It does change, slightly change sometimes where the fish are. Let's go ahead and get both of our lines in. Here I thought I was like saving us a little bit better fish bite by going forward in time, and it actually slightly adjusted where the hot spot was going to be. So but you can still see the markers I have down all over this area, and let's watch these. But I also want to just kind of show you some of the stuff we're catching down here. So starting at the top, trophy mahi, trophy, actually was that unique amberjack. Sorry, these are Japanese amberjacks. Trophy mahi, all these are small fish. There's a greater amberjack, so they are around. Unique mahi, trophy mahi. Was this unique? Yep, that was unique. So just really good fish in here. There's our little squid spot where we did the squid mission. We've got trophy grouper over here to our west. But yeah, where we're fishing here just tends to be some really nice. All right, let's go ahead, and that's probably big enough that I think it will be worth to go ahead and stop the boat. Go ahead and see what we've got here. Probably a mahi, but let's see what it is. Could it be trophy, or is it just a regular one? Now it's coming in pretty easily. So again, you just kind of, for me, sometimes I just want to be able to fish like this and not stress about those long, somewhat programmed feeling fights with the big tuna and stuff. So this can be a trophy amberjack. Love these Japanese amberjack. So again, we're getting 1,400 experience, usually $4,000 to $5,000, and it's no effort at all. So, and of course, if we have a little bit smaller equipment, we're still probably getting them in fairly easily. And it's worth even more XP. You're not getting that slight penalty for having too strong of equipment, which we're going to be getting on all the fish we're catching here. We're getting that negative 800 or whatever, you know, it is, depending on the fish. So we'll keep going. Looks like we're kind of veering west a little bit to stay right in the middle of this hot spot of fish. And here's another one. I think this can be a small one. We'll see. Okay, so if it's a mahi, it's a trophy, which you'd love to see. But it could be something else. Sometimes we get skipjacks through here, and so that's always a possibility. But yeah, let's see what this is. It's strong enough that it's pulling a little bit. Yeah, this is not your average fish that I'm used to catching in this spot. It's just a little bit bigger. Maybe we did hit a trophy skipback or something. This is actually starting to feel like a regular tuna. Not quite that strong, but certainly nowhere near the bigger tunas or marlin, but this is a reasonable sized fish. Yeah, and any of your trolling lures, or you know, the types that we're using here, I wouldn't necessarily use plugs. I think the plugs, it's just too low of a bite rate unless you're in a high density tuna spot. From what I've seen, I would stick to some of these types of lures, but so curious what this is. And there are moments when it seems like, you know, very, very manageable. There's moments it gets angry. So really, these types of fishing fights, this is sort of what I've been avoiding in these spots, but obviously you can still occasionally hit something that's going to be a little more annoying. And it's just, again, what after a while, to me, just feels like sort of this programmed back and forth where, okay, you're going to pull it in 20 meters, and then it's going to pull you back out 18 meters, and you're going to pull it back in 12 meters, and then it's going to go back out 16, and then you're going to pull it in 22 meter, you know, and then finally you kind of get it in. And it just, this, I don't know, it feels very robotic to me. And so there are times that I'm in the mood for that and exciting. You see these huge marlin and stuff, but there's also times where I'm like really impatient with that. And yeah, right now this is reminding me of that way too much. So trying to just get this fish in, and then we'll see what it is. This is kind of going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm wrong. This is a full-on tuna. I mean, there's no way. This is our stronger setup. Ugh, it's just, yeah, and this is why I've been fishing over here. I have not been in the mood for this. It just feels so artificial to me, the back and forth. Goodness. So trophy dogtooth. So this is a good example, right? Trophy dogtooth is gonna be an annoying fight. Only 7,400 XP, $20,000. You know, you start asking yourself, okay, how many fish could we have gotten in immediately? 3 or 4 fish, and we could have done this, and we wouldn't have the annoyance of what this turned into be. Now, occasionally, do you want to catch a really nice trophy dogtooth? Sure, you know. Okay, that's interesting. So we've gotten all the trophy size. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that was our last one we hadn't trophied. Very weird. Yeah, and I'm also not used to... Have we caught any other of those? Let's see. Yes, we had one other dogtooth. So those are here. I would say they are kind of bycatch. There's not the primary thing we're catching here, but it's interesting. Let me see where we are actually on the map. We are still right in the middle of the fish. Yeah, we want to keep heading north. All right, we'll fish a little bit more. I think you're kind of getting the idea here on the fish we're going after and the way we're approaching this, but we'll try to catch a couple more for you here before we wrap it up. Bucktail's onto something here. By the way, the bite rate is so good. I mean, you're almost just going one fish after another here. It's a little regular mahi, I think. Yeah. Make sure there's not something on here. So, mostly I'm just trolling at 1%. Very slow troll. And you often get just immediate bites. Alright, another one on the bucktail. Love to see it. Oh, I like that we're catching these mahis right now on the bucktail. I think the mahi is probably the ideal fish to do this with. The only thing is, the Mahi-Mahi, the only thing is, it's nice to be fishing in a spot where we've got other species mixed in. You know, it's not totally dependent on Mahi being the fish we're catching every time. And I just kind of like that. Maybe just sort of for the variety, but also the bite rate. You know, we're doing a pretty much constantly catching fish, and if a lot of them end up being Mahi, that's great, but we don't mind catching some of the other species that we've been focusing on as well. And you'll go through times where, like right now, that bucktail's doing really well. Ooh, there's a nice, hopefully, I can't tell if that fish is really on. Nah, that's a fake. A lot of times the, you know, line one will be killing it. Right now, the bucktail's caught several fish in a row. We're almost to the point where I usually turn around. You can see the fish activity is starting to dwindle. All right. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect way to end this. Oh, it's going to be another Mahi-Mahi. This is great. Trophy as well. You see how easy that trophy was to pull in? We're getting tons of trophy Mahis. 2,400 experience, $7,800 every fish. I mean, that is so much more efficient than, you know, the way we have to struggle to get in a trophy dogtooth. And that trophy dogtooth was relatively quick compared to a lot of the other fish you're catching when you're out in the in the big, like, so one of my favorite places to troll, and I've talked about this in other videos, if I'm going for the big fish, is out here, right? This spot that's right up here north of the island. I mean, this is always so good, and you can extend it all the way up to here, and you've got just unique marlin, you've got all the different types of tuna. It's just great, and I love it. But that is just fish after fish after fish that you're just going to really struggle with, where sometimes if you hang out closer to the island, like what we're doing right here, you can get a lot of these smaller fish much more efficiently, and yet still make tons of money and make tons of XP. So yeah, I just really have enjoyed it. In fact, let's go ahead and look at this. We've got a total weight of 500 kilos of fish, which is a lot because mostly it's very small fish, right? It's not the huge tuna marlins that add up so quickly. So let's go ahead and look, since we've been doing this for a little while now. Let's see what happens when we oh, I can't skip. Well, I was going to do some repairs anyway, so I'll just go ahead and leave. I just wanted to show you before we wrap up, show you kind of how we have done here. So with premium, just with what you've seen me catch here, we've gotten 52,000 XP and $166,000. And then for the whole trip, I don't know how long I've been here since I last left and repaired and did a few things. The whole trip will be probably massive. Yeah, 282,000 XP and $830,000. We got a couple challenges done. So that just kind of shows you how quickly, even with smaller fish, we're up to 4.6 million now, how quickly things can just add up as you're fishing on this map. So, okay, hopefully that was helpful. Gives you some ideas if you're still struggling with kind of how you want to approach the map, or if you're just getting here and trying to figure out where can I hang out, where the majority of fish I'll catch will be fish that I can handle. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. All right, I'll see you next time.